everyone. This is Kait Stephens. Welcome back to another episode of the Omnichannel Marketer. Today, I have Jamie Roller, Associate Director of Growth Channels at Dr. Squatch. Hi, Jamie. Excited to have you here.
Hi, Kate. It's really good to be on. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. So, why don't we just start with a little bit more about your personal background and career and how you came to be in your role at Dr. Squatch?
So I started my career as a strategy consultant, and after a couple of years, a role came up to work at South Africa's biggest online retailer, and it was in books, which is just it's my favorite category. I've been shopping for books on Amazon since I was a little kid, and I just absolutely jumped the role. It was a wonderful opportunity to get into a very complex role and ecosystem of products and services. And since then, I haven't looked back. I've been in e-commerce since then. I've worked in beauty at an Amazon aggregator, and now I'm heading up the marketplaces team at Dr. Squatch. So a lot of experience in online marketplaces and kind of within the e-commerce ecosystem on both sides of the table, both as a retailer and as a brand.
That's a helpful perspective. For the benefits of our listeners, tell us a little bit more about what is Dr. Squatch? What is the state of the business right now?
So Dr. Squatch is a men's natural personal care company. We are best known for our soap, our deodorants, our hair care. We are about 10 years old this year. We've just turned 10. Very exciting for us. Our founder Jack started the company, to fill a personal need for himself, really to treat his own skin conditions, and found that there was a really exciting need to fill for men that are looking for really good quality personal care products that don't smell like women's soap. So that's kind of how the company started, and we've had a really exciting journey since then. A couple years ago, we started really leaning into social media and videos, and that hugely successful for us. And back in 2021, we put out and kind of really shot the business to next level of growth. And I think since then, the business has really grown to, new levels of success. And two things that have changed. I mean, we're a D2C first company. We've always been D2C first. It's our core channel. It's a very important channel for us. But retail and marketplaces have become kind of core pillars of our business, and just a way for us to meet customers where they are and continue to grow and exist in an omni-channel way.
Is there anything you can share that would help give people a sense of kind of the size and scale of Dr. Squatch at this point?
Yeah, so we're a 9-figure company at this point, and we're growing. I would say like retail is growing very fast for us. We're getting into a lot of big retailers, and it's a very exciting time. I think for us, it's the last few years have definitely been great in terms of building that momentum and kind of figuring out what at scale, how do we operate and how do we play in the different channels?
Okay, why don't we dive a little bit deeper into, what omni-channel means for Dr. Squatch? I think you referenced kind of D2C first, marketplaces, retail. So then we could start to transition a little bit deeper into, marketplaces and, where you spend a lot of time.
Yeah, so I think for us, omni-channel really means being ubiquitously available for customers wherever they prefer to shop. For us, it doesn't necessarily mean taking a blanket approach to our merchandising and product and marketing strategy across all channels. It's taking a holistic view of all of the channels that we operate in, but specific approach to each channel that works well for the customers that purchase on those channels. So for example, D2C is a really great channel for us to drop new partnership products, to nimbly test new approaches and markets. It remains a really exciting channel for us because it's our most flexible and channel and the one we have most control over. Retail is one where we want to have all our core scents available. Some of our most successful partnership products and limited edition products will have available there. And we obviously offer value to customers in retail, in Walmart, of course, that's key there. And then marketplaces is kind of, that's where we have the most limited control. And how I think of marketplaces is really all about convenience and selection for customers. And we make sure that we're pricing appropriately so that is a profitable and sustainable channel for us, because we know that there's some customers who will pay a premium so that they can get their products on Amazon. And we want to make sure that we can continue to grow out that business and put focus on it and meet those customers where they are.
Yeah, so let's, talk a little bit more about Amazon, how you think about the channel as a business.
So Amazon for us has, I would say in the last couple of years, become an increasingly interesting portion of our business because what we realized is that we are driving a lot of branded search traffic to the platform because we're doing so many paid ads. Through the paid ads that we're running on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube that direct to our D2C store, a lot of those customers end up just coming to Amazon and searching for Dr. Squatch soap. And what's really interesting to see is that searches for Dr. Squatch soap, which is our main branded term, outpace searches for the main category terms like bar soap or men's soap. And what that shows us is that our investment into brand building off platform is really helping drive very strong sales on platform. And I think it's shown us that Amazon can be a really powerful platform for us to capture that attention of customers who want to come to Amazon and who are interested in that 2-day prime delivery. And we want to make sure that we're leaning into that.
So just to clarify, so even though you're driving that paid traffic to your D2C, you're still finding that's creating the awareness of a high intention purchaser who's actually coming to Amazon to purchase, searching Dr. Squatch as opposed to just the category. So, meaning that what you're doing on social is driving traffic to Amazon.
Exactly. And we've recently done some tests where we've turned off spend on some channels where we're directing to D2C and then switch it back on. And we've seen when we switch spend back on, and not even necessarily at a very high level of spend, but for example, on YouTube, when we're spending on YouTube, we see a huge influx of traffic to Amazon. And what we think is going on there is that YouTube is mostly a desktop-based platform. A lot of users are seeing the ads in it. We try to look at it holistically and realize that customers that our ad spend across our e-commerce channels is driving customer acquisition across both D2C and Amazon. And that's why one of the important things that we look at is blended CAC as opposed to just our D2C CAC or Amazon CAC in isolation.
That makes complete sense, especially given kind of the omni-channel nature of your business. Does that, CAC, because I have to imagine that awareness also carries into your retail channels. Are you as a business looking at a blended CAC across D2C, Amazon, and retail? I imagine that gets incrementally more difficult to do.
It does. It certainly does. We've not yet cracked how to measure CAC in retail because we just don't know how many customers we're acquiring there. But I think, ultimately what we'd like to do is we are working on modeling out what that looks like so that we can come to an estimate of how our ad spend across all channels drives new customer acquisition across with an omnichannel view.
Yeah, well, if you figure that out, I'm sure there's a lot of brands that would love to pick your brain on it. I think that becomes a challenge, but at least you're looking at the CAC per blended CAC and per marketplace, which leads me to how do you think about other marketplaces or just expansion for the business in general? Where is Dr. Squatch both, regionally, and, related to marketplaces, and, how do you think about that expansion?
It's a great question, and it's something I've certainly thought very deeply about in the last year. I'll tell you first where Dr. Squatch is, and then I'll go into how we're thinking about it now and how we're thinking about it in the future. So we're currently in the US, we're on Amazon.com, on Target.com, and on Walmart.com. And internationally, we're in Canada and some EU markets and Amazon.co.uk. We are slowly expanding into Amazon International, and that's, we're doing that in line with our D2C expansion because we want to leverage the expansion, like exactly how I broke it down with our US business. When we spend on ads, we see customers going to Amazon, and we want to back that up with efforts in other countries too. When we think about how we're expanding into other marketplaces aside from Amazon, I think the way that I think about it is Amazon is such a big platform for us, and it makes up such a big portion of our sales that I really have to be very mindful of how I balance my time and my team's time between sustaining the Amazon business and looking at net new opportunities. And I'm very mindful that every moment that I spend away from growing the Amazon business is, a huge, it's an opportunity cost. So
Hmm.
I try to spend right now, we're very focused on just growing Target and Walmart and supporting the Amazon business. But I think in the next year, think we're going to have a shift towards testing out incremental new small platforms in a way that's low lift on my team, but has potential longer term upside. I think it's just going to be a hard nut to crack because the resource calculus becomes important when I think about how to spend my time and my team's time.
So let's go a little bit deeper on Amazon, because I think that there's clearly so many growth levers in that platform and it's such a big, growth channel for Dr. Squatch. Talk to me about what some of those opportunities are. I know, you have thoughts on, like third party, being a third party seller. So, talk to me about some of the opportunities there and some of the learnings about the platform.
So I think the way that we think about Amazon and marketplaces more generally is, because you have very limited control of how you sell on those platforms, especially, as a third party seller, we don't have, you can wake up one morning and your account can be shut down. It can be quite a tenuous situation to be in. So we think about it in terms of a defensive and an offensive strategy. And I think we first try to think defensively in terms of how do we make sure that our account stays healthy? How do we make sure we're defending against Amazon clamping down on us for price control versus Walmart, who prices at a lower price than us? We first try to make sure that we're ticking all of the boxes in terms of just keeping our product selling and then defending our space, making sure we're defending all of our branded terms and PPC ads, making sure we've got the right merchandising so that when customers look for our product, they can see them all listed in the search results.
What does it mean when you're, defending your terms? Like, what does that mean?
Good question. So when a customer comes and searches for Dr. Squatch on Amazon, what's really important to understand about Amazon is that they've aggressively expanded their ad inventory in the last year or 2 years. And the first four spots you see, as well as the block at the top, is ad placement, and anyone can take those spots, right? So if we're not bidding on those spots, another brand will be, and we want to make sure we're defending that space as well as other spaces. Like, you can advertise on our own product listings. We want to make sure we're upselling customers there and other brands aren't selling their products to our customers. So we're very mindful of making sure that when a customer is looking for our product, they see our products, and we're not losing that customer to a competitor.
That makes complete sense. So you could, talk more. I think you're going into pricing and merchandising as well.
So I think pricing for us is something we're very mindful of on the platform. As I mentioned at the top of the talk, one thing that I think folks are very scared of on Amazon is profitability, because I think, it's the fees on Amazon are significant. And I think one way we've got around it is through thoughtful price pack architecture, making sure that what we deliver to the customer is unique and it doesn't look like what's on other channels. And that allows us to price in those the referral fees and the fulfillment fees and still operate at a margin that's sustainable for us. But you also have to be thoughtful about doing that in a way that's actually going to drive traffic and conversions. And I think testing that is something that we do very often. We test our pricing very often to see what the inflection point is between conversion rates and just a complete fall off in that. So that's how we think about that. And then I think the opportunities those are some of the defensive strategies we have, and some of the opportunities that we lean into are advertising is a huge one for us on Amazon. Because we're spending so much on other brands search terms. So, make sure we're showing up or bidding on competitors' search terms so that we can capture some of their searches. We've tested out demand side platform DSP ads. I think it's just for us, we're constantly testing and learning and seeing which strategies are going to work, whether it's promotions, whether it's coupons. We're very quick to test and quick to decide what's working and what's not working.
Explain a little bit more about what DSP means.
DSP is Amazon's both on platform and off platform. There are ads that come up across their ecosystem, and it's generally served as it's used as a top of funnel tactic for brands, whereas PPC ads, pay-per-click ads on Amazon are served on a pay-per-click basis. DSP ads are served as with other performance marketing on a cost per mil basis. And these can be served in various places across the Amazon ecosystem, as well as off Amazon on, other on news sites and stuff like that. And they drive to the the PDP on Amazon or the brand store. The thing that makes DSP ads interesting is that, as I said, it's a very top of funnel tactic. It lives in spaces that kind of bring awareness to your brand, because it's not in the search results as PPC ads are. It's kind of around the search results, so it helps gain some awareness for your brand. But we've tested this out, and there's some challenges around measuring incrementality with DSP. It's just very, very difficult to understand, what did a view actually convert to a purchase, and how did that customer move down the funnel? And I think Amazon is making some strides towards helping us measure that, but we're a little ways from being able to do that in a way that makes it easy for us to measure the true incrementality. So it's something we've tested, and I think we'll continue to test, but it's not something we're currently using now, because we want to make sure that the money we're spending is, especially on a very bottom of funnel platform like Amazon, we want to make sure that that's converting into sales.
Makes complete sense. And so you mentioned how your paid branded ads will affect conversion in a positive way on Amazon. Do you find that when you segment your customers, that your D2C customer is similar to or different than the customer who's purchasing from you on Amazon?
It's a good question. And I think I have to preface this with saying it's very difficult we have a lot of information about our D2C customers. They're in our ecosystem. We know a lot about them. Our Amazon customers, we don't know who they are. So we have very high level information about them. It's, just very high level what Amazon gives us. Having said that, we see some general overlap in terms of demographics and behaviors and economics with customers. For example, a couple of interesting things is that, like, during the holidays, more women shop for our products on both platforms. Then we have a shift towards female customers. We know that customers who purchase products that are multiple categories, or have orders that have products in multiple categories, tend to be higher lifetime value customers. And I think our strategy ends up looking rather similar across D2C and Amazon, in that we try to create a merchandising experience for customers that channels them into being high lifetime value customers. Lifetime value is probably our, at least in the marketing team, probably our North Star metric, I would say. And we cross-pollinate between D2C and Amazon to figure out what works to drive LTV and sustained growth, and certainly payback on our ad spend.
And so how do you think about what lifetime value looks like for Amazon and for retail, where you have such limited data? Or what can you do now as a business to try to bridge that gap?
On Amazon, we've been quite clever in measuring our LTV based on the limited customer data that we can get. So we are able to measure our lifetime value pretty accurately. And that's thanks to some, good, I would say, like, better than average work done by our data team to kind of crack that code. I know that calculus is still eluded a lot of other Amazon sellers. We're at the stage where we're starting to do predictive modeling of LTV for Amazon. And I think that's something that's exciting for us to be able to figure out, like, what are the things that drive high LTV, and how can we encourage that behavior from our customers, so that we can just continue to drive a sustainable business and keep coming back, so that we can give our customers a good experience. On retail, it is, as you alluded to, it's a little more challenging. We've had to make a lot of assumptions about how long customers stay at the customer, how many items they purchase. We've built out some basic models around this, but I think we use them more as directionally accurate than as true, like, comparison metrics between the three channels.
And is there an LTV to CAC ratio that you're targeting, or is there a CAC, any numbers you could share for what the goal is, would be super helpful.
I think everyone says that they target a 3-to-1 LTV to CAC ratio, but I think for us, what we actually look at is our payback ratio, and we know that that changes over time and changes on a blended basis depending on what tactics we're taking on Amazon and on D2C. We've seen some shifts over the last year depending on like what's happening with customer acquisition costs. And one thing that I'll tell you on Amazon is that we've typically had very high paybacks on Amazon just because our acquisition costs are so much lower on that channel than on D2C. Last year, we decided to do a big ad surge test. We were spending at around 10% tacos and then we were at a very high level of efficiency and decided to double that. And we realized that, all that was doing was really pushing up cost per clicks on the platform. And that just literally halved our payback overnight. So it's a good learning for us. It's something we're willing to test. But knowing where to push and when to stop pushing because you've got the learnings and then pull back ad spend is something that's been critical for us.
Makes complete sense. So, always testing and always kind of monitoring those key North Star metrics. Jamie, we talked, a little bit before we started recording about how you feel, passionately about selling on marketplaces. Could you just share why that's the case?
Yeah, so I think, I've kind of sat on all three sides of the table. I've been a marketplace customer. I've been an Amazon customer since I was a little kid. I've worked at marketplaces, and now I manage marketplaces as a brand. And I think one thing that I'm really passionate about when I speak to brands is you really need to be leaning into marketplaces like Amazon, like Walmart, like Target to capture demand there. Because if you think about it as a customer, customers want to shop there. They're going there. They're using it as a search engine. So I think one thing I always rattle into people's minds is you have to be there. You have to be available and lean into it.
Makes complete sense. Okay, moving into our lightning round. What is your favorite omnichannel brand?
I'm loving Dude Wipes.
I think that they have such a fun branding. I completely agree there. What's the number one thing you wish you could change about our industry?
I think fear about rising customer acquisition costs. I think, I wish that it actually presents an opportunity for smart brands to double down on what's working and outshine brands who aren't. And also like a good opportunity to just build your brand organically.
Favorite podcast?
Huberman Lab.
Favorite newsletter?
2 p.m. e-commerce.
I love that one too.
It's great. It's truly great.
I love their market maps. I love their lists. I think that they do a fantastic job. Favorite social media channel?
Does the Substack count? I don't know if it counts, but I am on Substack a lot.
Sure does. Favorite book?
Top one. The book I always come back to is The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. I just find it so grounding.
I'll have to read that one. And then event that you're planning on going to this year that you're excited about? I guess you could be going virtually too.
Yeah, we have an e-commerce event here in South Africa that I haven't attended in a couple years, and it's coming up next month, and I'm really looking forward to it to kind of meet some other industry professionals.
Yeah, there's nothing better than, meeting some people IRL after so long, just being virtual.
Exactly.
Where can people connect with you, Jamie?
Best place to find me is on LinkedIn. Pretty easy to find me there. Just search for me.
And Jamie has amazing content on LinkedIn that I, know and love, which is actually how that we, came to be connected here to have Jamie on the podcast. So, Jamie, thank you so much. Really enjoyed our conversation.
Thanks so much, Kate. Really enjoyed this too.
Bye. If you liked this podcast, follow me and the Bridge page on LinkedIn and Twitter for hot takes and tactical advice. If you really loved today's episode, we'd love a review on the podcasting platform of your choice, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thanks for listening.